Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. It is I, Mike Martins. Good morning, happy Friday to everybody watching this transmission. And yes, I got some good news for you guys. Well, it's not good news. Well, it's news, right? And remember we've been covering on the channel about just before the election time, these big jobs, all these jobs in Canada. The month before the election, they created 46,000 jobs. What were they? Public sector jobs. Public sector, working at the Department of Motor Vehicles, working at carrying your mail, teachers, probably quite a few doctors because we're losing them to the States. So, okay, they created all these jobs, but the private sector took a big punch in the gut, losing 20,000 jobs. So they didn't take the aggregation into effect. Now, Canada posts surprise decline in jobs, sending Loonie lower. I mean, are they even allowed to even talk about what's really happening? Because usually it's kind of like a code, like an ancient Navajo code, where we have to read what we see and have to decipher it for ourselves and figure out what's really going on. Remember, the news is only out there to apologize for the big wigs for getting caught. That's all they're there for. They don't, people are going to know these job numbers. We're going to have to say something. The government got caught this time, so let's apologize for them. Canada's labor market slipped after 2 straight months of strength. Remember? Before the elections. Oh, man, the labor market's this and that. And then we're looking at it from this side and saying, we're losing jobs with GM, Ford, Chrysler. They're shutting down this. And then you get all these job cuts here and there and ceramics company and Dunlop Paint and blah, blah, blah. Dunlop Paint or whatever in Vancouver. All these, 100 layoffs here, 200 here. Lots of private sector closures in Vancouver because the property taxes are going up. So it's kind of interesting to see what's happening here. With both employment and the jobless rates, little change indicating the nation's recent pace of job growth may be cooling. The country lost 1,800 jobs in October, StatsCan said on Friday in Ottawa, versus economists' expectations of 15,000. Uptick in employment October marks the first month of job losses since July and comes after Canada added almost 135,000 jobs in the prior 2 months. I wasn't kidding. 135,000 jobs in the last 2 months, beating America with a population of 350 million. In the prior months, full-time positions fell by 16,100, while part-time increased to 14,300. The unemployment rate held steady at 5.5%, matching the median forecast, and wage gains accelerated. The Canadian dollar dropped on the report, falling 0.4% to 1.322 per US dollar. Wow, I have some American stocks. I'm going to go check them today. At 8:46 a.m. in Toronto, trading yields on Canadian 2-year bonds were down 3 basis points to 1.6%. Oh no. You can get a 5-month bond for more better than that, or a 6-month bond. Woo! The flat reading for employment in October doesn't shift the view of labor markets that remains a bright spot for the Canadian economy, despite concerns that trade tensions are slowing growth. So now they're throwing the trade tensions in there, and who are they blaming for the trade tensions? Donald J. Trump. The question now is whether the month's drop in employment is a blip or is it a sign of future weakness. The later could pressure the Bank of Canada into cutting interest rates, something they opened the door for in October's meeting. Lower the rates, print off the easing, quantitative easing. Hey, I just did an article of Zimbabwe the other day. They're cutting back on jobs. They don't have any more the private sector is completely obliterated in Zimbabwe. So what is the government's action plan? To lower rates to negative and print more money. Wage gains quickened to 4.4% on the year, a sign that tightness in the labor market is boosting pay. Hours worked advanced 1.3% from a year earlier, matching last month's pace. It's hard to be too upset over this soft print, said Bob Roth, of macro strategist to Toronto Dominion Bank. It doesn't change anything for the Bank of Canada. Sure it doesn't. It just means less people. Consumer confidence goes down. It means job decline goes down. Consumer confidence goes down. Consumer spending doesn't happen, and consuming goes up in food because people need to eat. So they're gonna have to borrow more to eat. People are borrowing to eat. So for every dollar a Canadian makes, they owe $1.98. Hey, look at Australia. It's like two for every dollar every Australian makes, like $2.08. So it's not looking good. Private sector employment was virtually unchanged, while self-employment plunged by 27,800. So self-employment is a big deal because it actually employs people. Like self-employed people employ several people usually because they have some sort of operation they're working on. Self-employment doesn't necessarily mean you're working out of your house, right? Public sector employment helped offset most of the loss, adding 28,700 jobs. There we go. Public sector. Election-related hiring contributed to the gains in public sector. Election-related hiring. Do we include all the mainstream media in Canada that got a bailout from the Liberal government, $600 million? Are they considered now public sector? And now they're all getting mad, and then now on December 10th, they want to shut down all these channels because people need to know what's really happening, and then YouTube takes a shot in the foot and basically loses all its, I'm going to cancel my Prime. I've had hundreds of people telling me that if certain channels, like not just mine, like specific channels get shut down, they're just going to uninstall you. Oh, but it comes installed on the phones now. That's a good control mechanism. When you buy a phone and YouTube already comes installed, you just uninstall it. And that's where things are going to be headed. I'm starting to get everything ready and backing up all my videos and getting it ready for BitChute because yeah. Even with the slight drop in October, job gains so far this year have been robust. The country has added almost 391,000 jobs, the most in the first 10 months of a year since 2002. So how much of that is public sector? The construction manufacturing sectors dragged on employment, losing a total of 44,000 jobs. Construction and manufacturing. That's the key to growing your GDP is construction and manufacturing sectors. Dragged on employment, losing a total of 44,000 jobs, while public administration and finance, insurance, and real estate sectors rose notably. All the sectors you don't want to go up because you want more private employment and private sectors to grow. You don't want the public sector. Public sector is just going to create more red tape, more bureaucracy, and more people, I guess, coming in to learn English. That's what public sector jobs is, to come in and learn English. And we don't need more people to learn English here. We need more private. We need people with brains to invest, but people are backing off. Like, let me give you an example. My online business that I sell online, I sell little pieces of cardboard like this. Now, let me tell you something. I've basically cut back, the business has cut back 40% in revenue lost right overnight. Why? The Liberal government in Canada passed a law, anything going to the United States that feels like it's not a letter, okay, a letter needs to be sent without tracking, and you got to pay $14 to send it. They want $14 to send this piece of cardboard to the United States. And before that, I would be sending close to anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 a month in sales with our weakening Canadian dollar, and I would take that money. No, I wouldn't take that money and then go spend it somewhere in another country. I would reinvest it here back in Canada. I would buy more stuff here. I would increase my production. I would increase my levels. Heck, I was even thinking of hiring someone to work for my house to help me organize this, but then it got to a point where now I have to, anything that gets sent to the U.S. because of our weakening dollar, becomes more attractive and Americans will spend money to buy across the border and get a better deal. But I'm not getting that income anymore because now when I want to ship something in a mail letter envelope, thin as paper that it could go through, the instructions at the postal office is to feel it and to make sure that it's paper. It can't be a cardboard card or something. Anything that feels like you're bringing in something into the country makes it look like that you are basically selling something. And it's on the Canadian side. Everyone's saying, oh, Trump is screwing over the Canadians. No, it's not. It's on the Canadian side. So they want $13, $14 to ship this piece of cardboard out. So I don't want tracking. I just want to put a stamp and put it in the mail. Now I'm shipping to all the Canada right now, all the Canadian provinces with just a little stamp, $1.90, put it in the mail. Now, what I'm concerned about is if the federal government starts breaking down the provinces, that you're going to require this non-tracking system and pay $6 to send a piece of cardboard, and then that will basically shut down my entire home-based business. So I don't know what they're doing and why they're cutting us out. So I'm losing $5,000 to $6,000 in gross revenue not shipping to the States per month. That's a lot of loss. So you see why I've been uptight lately, right? So why would the federal government do this in Canada? Why would they stop us when we're having a declining dollar? We could actually bring more money into the country and actually re-spend it into the country. But they don't want that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I would love to know. Thanks for watching.